Prime Minister Andrew Holness names the Constitutional Reform Committee, and we continue to highlight development plans from his contribution to the recent national budget debate. I'm Vaughn Davis, and you're watching Jamaica House Weekly. On Wednesday, the Prime Minister called a press conference to introduce the 12 newly named members of the Constitutional Reform Committee. The team, which is expected to hold its first meeting this week, has been put in place to ensure Jamaica's smooth transition to a republic.
There may be the view that it is a straightforward and simple task of just changing the name of the country from that of a constitutional monarch to a republic. That is not the case. There are many legal steps that we have to go through, and there is the matter of a referendum, the outcome of which no one can predict.
The Constitutional Reform Committee is being co-chaired by Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs Marlene Malahou-Fort and Ambassador Rocky Mead. Other members include Attorney General Dr. Derek McCoy, President of the Senate Tom Tavares Finson, and Senators Ransford Braham and Donna Scott Motley. Also serving are Member of Parliament Anthony Hilton, experts on constitutional affairs Professor Richard Albert and Dr. Lloyd Barnett, as well as Consultant Counsel Hugh Small. The committee is also comprised of Dr. David Henry, representing the Faith-Based Society, Dr. Nadine Spence for Civil Society, Youth Advisor Sujay Boswell, and Chair of the National Committee on Reparations Lalita Davis Mattis. Christopher Harper will serve as liaison officer.
Their job is significant, and I thank all of them for giving of their time and effort, knowledge and guidance to the process. I am confident that we will be able to meet the ambitious timelines that have been set, and that we will make one step further in redefining who we are as a country and as a sovereign people.
Coming out of the Prime Minister's recent budget debate presentation, it was announced that the National Commission for Violence Prevention is developing a 10-year evidence-based national action plan on crime and violence.
Once we have this national plan, then we will be able to properly fund and deploy violence interrupters right across the country, psychologists and social workers right across the country, to be able to treat with the real problems, not just the symptoms which we see expressed on the surface as crime and violence, but the real problem of hate, of aggression, of low self-esteem, of inability to socio-emotionally regulate, of lack of respect for the inviolability of the physical person, the body of the person, and a lack of respect for life.
A report from the Commission is expected in the upcoming fiscal year. The strategy will set up a level of governance and best practices that will activate a full national mobilization to control and reduce violence. Turning his attention to development, Prime Minister Holness says the Port Authority of Jamaica (PAJ) is exploring measures to expand the storage area and reduce congestion at the Port of Kingston. The PAJ is now in negotiations with the concession operator of the Port of Kingston, Kingston Freeport Terminal Limited, to lease sections of the westlands between the port and the Portmore Causeway. The Port Authority has also developed plans to build out more near-port logistics assembly and light manufacturing facilities. Tinson Pen is now the only land available to facilitate the near-port logistics expansion.
I have directed the Port Authority, the Airports Authority, and the NWA to develop a comprehensive plan to enable the use of the Tinson Pen lands for this purpose.
Mr. Holness says this will involve the transfer of operations of the Tinson Pen Aerodrome to the Norman Manley International Airport. Marcus Garvey Drive will also be realigned to run behind the Tinson Pen lands, releasing approximately 100 acres of land to be seamlessly incorporated into the curtilage of the port.
These two developments, along with the ongoing work on the Caymanas Special Economic Zone, will set the stage for a doubling of the capacity of the Port of Kingston and fulfill the shared vision of Jamaica becoming a logistics hub.
Meanwhile, work is well advanced on the construction of the Port Royal Museum. Completion is projected for the end of May 2023.
Following that, the selected operators will build out the museum interior and displays. It is anticipated that the facility will be operational by December 2023.
And bids submitted for the construction of the new Houses of Parliament complex are currently being evaluated. Prime Minister Holness says the intention is to break ground in the first quarter of fiscal year 2023-24 and start construction by the second quarter. June 2025 is the estimated completion timeline.
The new Parliament building will become the fulcrum of development to transform downtown Kingston. Madam Speaker, I will be declaring the Parliament construction a national strategic project to signal the importance and priority nature of the project.
The Urban Development Corporation (UDC) will manage the construction of the new Houses of Parliament building at National Heroes Park. And this is where we close out Jamaica House Weekly. We'll be back next week with more stories coming out of the office of the Prime Minister.